Ooh, Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos just sent a reminder to the entire NFL. He is going to have you scratching the word sophomore slump from your vocabulary because there is no such thing as a sophomore slump when you have the type of season and especially the type of finish Bo Nix had. We hear about that. We see some amazing throws that he already made in the first day of Broncos training camp. We get great injury news about the Broncos and bad injury news happening all over the league. We got holdouts where everyone is in Broncos attendance. Amazing amount of news, and we are here for it. If you're new to the channel, this is a place for diehard Denver Broncos fans only. If you're not a diehard Denver Broncos fan, there's the door, and take that L on the way out. Let's dive in here. Sean Payton took the stage for about 27 minutes, his press conference, and it was impossible to watch it and not just be wildly hyped about what the Denver Broncos have in their future. He talked a ton about Bo Nix and some amazing sound bites as he was talking about Bo Nix. The first huge piece of news is that Bo Nix went to San Diego and lived with Drew Brees for a couple of days and milked every bit of information out of Drew Brees that he possibly could. And the other thing that we heard about Bo Nix's offseason is he also trained with the throwing doctor himself, Dr. Tom House, just a brilliant guy who's worked with a ton of baseball players, but then pretty much any good, accurate quarterback thrower of the ball that you like, he's also worked with. He kind of made his jump from baseball to football with Drew Brees, and Drew Brees had a couple rough seasons with the Chargers, and then he started working with Dr. Tom House, and it completely changed his throwing mechanics, how he warmed up, and that's why he played until his 40s. There's 20 articles online about like how Tom Brady threw into his 40s, and a lot of the credit is going to guys like Dr. House. So this is incredible that you got Bo Nix, who we've already seen added some muscle this offseason. You're going to see it in some of these throws. He is absolutely ripping it. So all of the talk about him being captain check down, I think all of those discussions are gone, and you see like his throwing mechanics, the ball just looks like it is absolutely flying out of his hands, and that is phenomenal. Now, a couple other cool things that we heard was just how different it is for Bo Nix moving into year 2 of this system, that this time last season, he was in a 3-way split there for first team reps. And now from the jump, this is Bo Nix's team. And that just makes a world of difference for Bo to know that he doesn't have that learning curve. And we're not going to have that slow first 4 games of the season like we did last season. So just incredible to see him adding muscle, him learning from Drew Brees, him learning from Dr. House about throwing mechanics, and here Sean Payton's like full-throated endorsement of him is just absolutely phenomenal. One of my absolute favorite parts of his entire press conference was he got a little salty at the national media because we know everyone was laughing that the Broncos got Bo Nix with the 12th overall pick, and then he performed better than any of them thought, and they all kind of justified their initial thought by saying, well, Bo Nix actually isn't good, but he's in the perfect system for him. And Sean Payton goes hard at that when he says this, and it had me just be like, this is the type of coach you want to play for, because Bo Nix hears this and is like, let's go. This guy believes in me. Listen to what Sean Payton had to say about that idea of a perfect marriage.
You know, like this was the perfect fit. Who's not interested in that player? You know, it almost discredits the athlete.
Absolutely. It 100% discredits Bo Nix when you say like he was only good in the Sean Payton system. And Sean goes on to say like this guy would be good in any system you put him in. He is like a robot. He all he does is study film, like going back to when they drafted him. What was in his backpack? Remember, he had a ball to roll out and a playbook. Like Bo Nix already is married. He's not making rap albums. He's not getting in fights on the sideline of youth football games. Like you just go through the NFL and look at what other quarterbacks were doing this offseason and look at what your starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos was doing, and it is hard to not be wildly excited about things to come. Also got our first view of RJ Harvey, and like his speed looks absolutely wild to me. Like you just see it, and we had hoped we saw that speed on display when you look at film back with him with Central Florida, but you're like, does that translate to the NFL? It is looking like it does for sure. And then we're seeing Marvin Mims, friend of the show. How cool is that to say Marvin Mims, friend of the show, just looking so fluid in his route running. We always knew he's like a 4.3 40 dude, blazing fast, led the league last year when it came to the amount of separation he got on his routes when he was targeted. 5 yards of separation was the average. Like I could make throws to a 5 yard open cushion, and you just see him running routes and see insane fluidity that you did not see his first couple years coming in the NFL. So if he adds this to his his arsenal of just insane amount of speed, it is going to be incredible. This is why Sean Payton is not trying to trade for a wide receiver right now, because he knows with guys like Marvin Mims, with Pat Bryant, who looked incredibly fluid in the videos that I saw today, and Courtland Sutton and Devon Vele, our receiving core is absolutely locked in. Speaking of receiving core, we see Courtland Sutton in attendance, which is phenomenal. Look at that ball just popping out of Bo Nix's hands. I think this is the one that I was just like, why are they calling him Captain Checkdown? Like, that's like a 30-yard bomb on a rope right there, like right down the sideline. So the big thing with Courtland Sutton being in attendance, Sean Payton got a little testy when he was asked about contracts, but he said, hey, we're having discussions. All the guys are in the building and they're here. And we saw yesterday Trey Hendrickson drove to Florida and left the state of Ohio. He doesn't even want to be in the same state as that owner. We saw Micah Parsons throw Jerry Jones under the bus, and now we're seeing Scary Terry McLaurin, who's in the exact same situation as Courtland Sutton. He's on the last year of his deal, and again, he's not in the building. And so what does that do for Jaden Daniels' development moving into the next season? It's just the Broncos have the culture and the talent to be a deep playoff team. And Sean Payton addressed that. He said, like, we are not afraid of talking about the Super Bowl now. They asked him, like, hey, you guys have championship hopes and aspirations. And he said, yeah, that's not something that makes us uncomfortable to talk about. We're talking about the immediate goals first. And then we talk about, hey, here's the expectation of what we want to get to. And so Sean Payton is definitely gunning to take this team to the Super Bowl. And you see that attitude permeate the building. You just see all these guys holding out, and how many Denver Broncos players before training camp, I lost count at 8 different players say, like, I can't wait for training camp. And it looks like a scorching hot day, no shade there. And they're out there like grinding away, and they're excited about it. They're not trying to dodge training camp. They're pumped about things to come. Also fantastic to see our main inside linebacker, Dre Greenlaw, who just looks like an absolute stud, man. Like, I wouldn't even go over the middle. I'd just like take a knee as soon as I saw him, because he is so big. And we remember all of the reports coming out of San Francisco. Dre Greenlaw is going to miss all of training camp, won't be back until the first of the season. And we're seeing that people who actually knew that Dre Greenlaw was going to be back and ready to go. And he absolutely is, which is phenomenal. Hearing great things about J.K. Dobbins, who I don't need to remind you was the actual best running back in the AFC West last year. So everyone's saying that we have the worst running back room in the entire league. Well, we got the best running back from the AFC West last season who's on our team, and we have a training staff who keeps players healthy. If J.K. Dobbins stays healthy, this is a deep playoff team. Absolutely. No doubt about it. So just vibes incredible. You see a tremendous amount of belief in the building through players and through Sean Payton, which is phenomenal. Other thing, Sean said this is one of the healthiest teams he ever can remember at this point of the season. Coming in, only A.T. Perry on that injury report. And just the way the Broncos are structuring things, they only were on the field for about 50 minutes today. They didn't want any opportunities for players to be hurt. And I could spend another 10 minutes going through different teams that had players injured today. So we're hearing that first-round draft pick for the Arizona Cardinals is missing the start of training camp because he got hurt in the offseason training. We're seeing that the Miami Dolphins, who we're going to be competing with for a playoff spot probably, lost their one of their starting corners to an ACL and had to have one of their draft picks actually airlifted by hospital. And so just awesome that the Broncos are healthy. They have the smartest minds in the room who are structuring these practices to keep players healthy. We've done this 2 years in a row, so it's not a fluke or not an accident. Sure, fluky accidents can happen, but this is by design. There are no accidents with the Denver Broncos, and that's a great thing. Also hearing more evidence just that the Los Angeles Chargers, guys, I think they're going to finish last in the division, and so many things are pointing to that. They lost a ton of defensive starters. Obviously, losing Bosa was a big deal, but then we're hearing Bosa come out and just gush about the culture of the Buffalo Bills and saying that he spent more time hanging out with the Buffalo Bills players in 6 weeks than he did his entire career with the Los Angeles Chargers. And to me, that's exactly what that is, a program that does not have a culture. And Sean Payton is the best culture builder in the NFL to me. I think Buffalo culture and Broncos culture, very similar. You see guys love to be together, and it's those East Coast road trips and those things Sean did last year that lead to that deep culture with the Denver Broncos. other bad sign that we're seeing out of Chargers is you're starting to see some of their beat reporters, their Mike Klisses, their guys who are in there all the time, talk about how fishy this whole situation is with their really their belle of free agency, Najee Harris. That they said like every single day that this goes by that we're not hearing about Najee Harris and his response to that fireworks accident has people holding up the Brian Windhorst finger, which is when he made a bold prediction about the NBA and put his finger up like, hey, are we sure this is going to happen? And so basically you have even beat reporters in Los Angeles say, hey, something's not right with this Najee Harris situation. The Chargers went out and signed a guy who hadn't played football at the running back position in 2 seasons because now their only option is Omarion Hampton. And to have Najee Harris be their belle of free agency that they're giving a ton of money to, and now you're seeing they're trying to do some stuff here where maybe he doesn't even count against their salary cap because the fireworks accident happened outside of any team activity. And so you see like the agent is saying, oh no, he'll be back, but the Chargers are like, we still haven't seen him. We don't know how bad that eye injury is. You don't want anyone getting hurt in a fireworks incident, but you're just seeing how the Denver Broncos have structured things, how Sean Payton has turned things around. This is uncommon. Like the Broncos are building this very differently, which is going to make this next decade an amazing run and so much here to Bo-LIEVE in. Oh, that means it's a fact.